Today is Saturday, the 17th of June 2023, and we are all gathered here for the 86th session on mindfulness for beginners in the English medium. And we have Venerable Bhante Homagama Dhamma Kusala Thero joining us on this program for today's session. I would like to welcome Bhante with much respect on behalf of all the participants joining through Zoom and also through the live stream on the Satipasala Foundation's Facebook page. Further to that, I would just go through the agenda. We will commence things off with in-session practice of mindfulness, and then we will move on to the talk on mindfulness, and then we will proceed to the question and answer session where we forward the reports received for today's session to Bhante for valued advice. So with that, we would commence today's proceedings, and I would like to invite Bhante to commence with the in-session practice. Over to Bhante. Much merits.
Thanks, Namantha. Hello, everyone. Today, maybe we can do a walking session to start the program. So all of you have to find some space where you can walk in a comfortable manner. Probably like 10-15 feet space would be enough, right? When you have that space, you can start walking in a comfortable manner. You walk back and forth and try to be mindful. Try to relax, try to be comfortable in the walking posture. You don't have to do much. Instead, we are going to just relax in the walking posture for a few minutes. That's what we are going to do. Time to time, you may realize various thoughts, memories, surrounding sights, sounds, they grab your attention. But again and again, you can come to the walking. You can bring your attention to the walking process. So this we are going to do time after time, although various other thoughts, ideas, memories, surrounding sights, sounds, they grab our attention. Gradually, we move our attention back to the walking process again. Know that your body is walking. Feel that your body is walking. Again and again, we are going to do this. We are going to come back to the walking. Realize that we are walking in the present moment and try to appreciate that walking. So that's what we are going to do. Let's trek about 10 to 15 minutes and try to do a mindful walking session. You can turn on video and join more actively. Okay, everyone, now you can return back to your seats.
Thank you very much, Bhante, for that guidance in the in-session practice. Next, we have the talk on mindfulness, and the last week's topic was unborn, and we would be continuing with that topic for today. So, on behalf of all of us, I would like to invite Bhante with much respect to commence the talk on mindfulness based on this topic. Much merits, Bhante.
Thanks, Namanta. So everybody, we can take some time to discuss today's topic. As you are aware, last week also we had the same topic. So we will try and discuss a little bit further on the same topic. Now, when we think about the world, when we think about our surrounding, when we think about our life, we feel that they are permanent. Everything is solid. You can feel the things around you. You can feel the people. You can talk to them. And when you think about it, it feels so real. You can feel the world that surrounds you in a real manner. And you continue with it. Once in a while, you get this feeling that the things are not working according to your wishes. Things are not working according to your expectations. Only once in a while you feel it. During such times you cry, you worry about those things, you rethink your plans, but again, after a while you forget the incident and you continue. Continue with the same attitude. Continue with the world. Continue with the things that surround you. Continue with the people. This is how we live our life. Once in a while, we feel threatened. We feel worrying. We feel that the things are not working as per our expectations. But again, we feel comfortable. So this is what we do. This is how we live our lives usually. But the meditator, they are advised to observe this process attentively. They are advised to walk in a comfortable manner and observe. In a way, you are observing non-judgmentally. They say that you observe like a snake. The snakes, they watch the surrounding in a cold-hearted manner. They are not biased. They are not judgmental. They are not emotional. Instead, they watch their surrounding in a cold-hearted manner. Same way, we try to observe with such attitude, with such openness. Usually what happens is that we are judgmental. We decide whether things are good or bad. We come into conclusions. That's how we usually function. But the meditator, they are advised to observe their surrounding. They are advised to observe the present moment non-judgmentally. They keep an open mind and observe. Again and again, 1001 times, they try to maintain the same attitude. That is how we do. Usually the walking meditation or the sitting meditation or the day-to-day practices, we try to observe without coming into conclusions. We try to observe in a cold-hearted manner. That's what we are doing. When you do it, little by little, you feel the real flow of things. Little by little, more and more light come into your view. You start to feel that the walking process is there, but things are changing so rapidly. The sitting sensations you feel, but the things are changing so rapidly. In a way, there is a variety of things, a fast flowing, a fast moving flow of things. Like a river flowing, you can feel so many sense objects in a combination. So many sounds are there. So many bodily sensations are there. So many thoughts, memories are there. Again and again, these things keep flowing. Again and again, it's a never-ending flux of things. Ever-changing flux of things. When you think about a fire, let's say a bushfire, when you see it from a distance, you feel it is solid. You see these bright colors, you feel this big solid mass of fire, big ball of fire you feel. But when you get closer and closer, you start to feel the real nature of this thing. You start to feel the real nature of this fire. When more closer you get, better you observe the real nature. You see that it is rapidly changing. Although the fire appears solid, it is rapidly changing. It's a ever-changing mass of things. Right? Similarly, when we are not attentive, we feel our life, we feel this mind, we feel our surrounding as solid. We feel that they are permanent, they are not changing. Especially, let's say, your body, you feel that it is not changing. Only once in a while you accept that change. When you see gray hair, for a while you accept that change. Then again you color it and forget about it. Then our mind, we don't even feel it is changing. We feel that the same person was there in this life since the birth. You remember your school years, you remember your primary education, you remember your middle school, then you remember your higher education. Then you remember your first job. You might remember your relationship with a person. Then you may remember your wedding. So those things are there. And you might even have photos of those incidents. You may show them and tell people, see, I have been there since this year. This is my birthday, and since then, I've been there. See, these are my photos. That's how we do. We say that the body is changing a little bit. The mind, it's not changing. It's permanent. It's there. But the meditator, they start to see the real nature of these things. It's a ever-changing flux of things, like a rapidly burning fire. It is ever-changing. But you have to observe it closely, then only you see the real nature. If you see it with ignorance, if you see it with a distance, then you won't feel this real nature. But when you are attentive, when you closely observe, you start to feel how fast these things are changing, how rapidly these things are changing. That observation is very valuable. Ever-changing flux of things are there. These things, it's a combination of things. The sounds are there, the bodily sensations are there, the thoughts, memories, images, various things are there. Then the sights are there. All these things, they are there. And once in a while, out of this flux of things appear. Out of this flux, sight appears. Out of this flux, bodily sensation appears. Out of this flux, a thought or a memory appears. That observation you can do. When you walk for a while, when you do the walking practice for a while, and you realize that the body is walking, but you are not that much involved. And you can't really keep your attention in a fixed point. Instead, the whole process you feel, whole walking process comes to your attention. Everything is flowing, and among these things, you are just the observer. You are there among these things. And even sitting practice, when you practice for a while, it is natural that you experience that you can't maintain the posture. It is changing without your intention. And suddenly you feel that this like dream-like nature. You feel that you are sleepy or something like that. Time to time, various thoughts, combination of thoughts come. Time to time, sounds appear. But always there's this flux of ever-changing things. Out of that flux, things appear, thoughts appear, the sounds appear, various bodily sensations appear. They appear from the flux and they dissolve into the same flux. Again, something different might appear from the flux and it dissolves into the same flux of things. So this experience is not foreign to a regular meditator. They start to feel this flux, this flow of things, this ever-changing nature they start to feel. So when it comes to our topic, when we think about the unborn, this is a very good way to experience it. When this ever-changing flow of things are there, you are in the unborn. That is the original nature. That is the never-changing nature. That is the same vibration with the universe. But out of these things, once in a while, a thought appears. Out of this flow, once in a while, a bodily sensation appears. Out of this flow, once in a while, a memory or an image appears. When it appears, it is a born nature. You identify with it. You identify this as a thought. Okay, I remember this person doing this thing. You identify yourself with that thought. You identify with this memory. You remember this is me when I was younger and this incident happens. Again, some kind of a bodily sensation appears and you identify yourself with that bodily sensation. You feel that my neck is hurting. My back is hurting. You identify yourself with these things. Again, these things, they dissolve into the same flux of things. That unborn nature, it dissolves into that unborn nature. Again, something born appears from that ever-changing flux of things. So this is the real flow of things. This is the real nature of things. This ever-changing flow, this ever-changing flux, it is the real nature. It is the unborn nature. It is one with the universe that surrounds you. But when the things are born, when the thoughts appear, when you identify yourself with it, when the bodily sensations appear, you identify yourself with it. When the sounds appear, you identify yourselves with it. You become the born nature once more. So it's a good practice to keep observing this nature, this ever-changing things. The meditator, they don't reject this. They don't reject the unborn nature. They don't reject the born nature. Instead, they keep an open mind and they continue their observation. They continue their observation. Again and again, they keep practicing. Again and again, they do that open-minded observation, that non-judgmental observation. They keep watching this as a snake, cold-bloodedly, they keep watching this. Again and again, you continue with that observation. When you do for a while, you realize things are born out of this flux. So some people, they say, there's nothing. There's no me, there's no world, there's nothing. But when they see this born nature, when they see these things appear, these things that born inside them, they realize there's this born nature. You can't say that there is nothing. And some people, usually the pleasure seekers, they think that everything is there. Everything is permanent. That is the usual worldly view. But they see the things are dissolving into the unborn. The born things, they die. They dissolve into the unborn. When they see that, they realize that these things are not permanent. They are dying, they are dissolving, they are vanishing. Again and again, the meditator goes between these two extremes. Once in a while, they start to feel that the things are permanent. Once in a while, they start to feel nothing is permanent, nothing is there. But the practitioner, when they become more and more mature, when they develop in their practice, they realize better not to come into any conclusions. Again and again, out of this flow, out of this flux, the things are born. Again and again, the born things are dissolved into this flux. Better not to hold on to anything. Better not to come into any conclusions. This is the real practice that we are doing. Again and again, you have to develop this attitude. Usually we are trained, our mind is trained to come into conclusions. Rapidly we need conclusions. Swiftly we need conclusions. You don't care about the observation, you don't care about the method. Instead, what matters is the conclusion. But the practitioner, the meditator, they maintain this open-minded attitude and they try to observe without coming into conclusions. This is what we need in our lives. This is the attitude that we have to develop in our lives. Again and again, you continue your practice. You maintain that openness in your mind. That observation, that openness is important. With time, you realize this attitude, this openness, it becomes more and more natural to you. It takes time. But with time, with repetitive practice, you realize you are developing this ability. You are developing this ability to observe with an open mind. Especially during your day-to-day lives. When certain things come, it is natural that you swiftly want to come into conclusions. You swiftly want to answer people. You swiftly want to blame people for certain things. You swiftly want to get rid of people. That's how we usually are. But the meditator, when they see this ever-changing flux, when they see this unborn nature within, naturally their mind doesn't come into conclusions. not probably within a day or two, not probably within few weeks, but when they practice again and again, they realize their mind doesn't get absorbed into these conclusions so rapidly. Their mind doesn't get absorbed into these conclusions so strongly. Still the conclusions are there. Still the anger is there. Still the need is there. But you realize that these things are not so strong as they used to be. The conclusions come, but I am able to refrain from them. I am able to maintain that open-minded nature more and more. You wait for things to evolve. You wait for things to mature and see what is the true nature of these things. If you grab onto it as soon as you see it, then that's not good. Because our initial conclusion is not so accurate. You need further information. You need further observation. Then only you realize what is the real nature of these things. Otherwise, we become fools coming into conclusions so rapidly. That's not good for your life. Again and again, you try to observe without reaching into conclusions. Let's say somebody might come and tell you something. And when you hear those words, when you read that email, suddenly a conclusion might come into you. This person is blaming me. That reaction is there. But the meditator, the practitioner, they are not in a hurry. They try to listen again and again. They try to see, they try to understand what this person is telling. Probably it's good to take a small break, distance your mind from this situation and see what is the reality, what is the true nature. So that way, we try to keep this open-minded attitude. We try to give things some time so they can mature into the real thing. Or the reality will show itself. So that time you have to give. Almost all the problems resolve if you give them enough time. But what is the problem? The problem is that you are in a hurry. You want to come into conclusions so rapidly. You want to decide things so rapidly. And that hurry will usually mislead you. When somebody come and blame you, if you get angry with that person, then you can't really decide whether that person is correct or not. Because you are absorbed into the anger. You identify yourself as the anger. As soon as you are absorbed into the anger, the rest become blind to you. That anger becomes your entire world. And you suddenly want to blame this person back, or hurt this person, or do something else. So that's how we usually are. But if you want to see the true nature of this, you have to allow your mind to recover from this anger. Then only you start to feel the real nature of these things. Then only you start to feel the true nature of these things. That person might be saying something else. But due to these emotions, due to this anger, you heard it differently. So this space, this distance, this time you have to give. When you give it time, you realize when your mind recovers from this emotion, you realize now this person is telling this. Now you are able to come into a better judgment. whether this person is blaming or whether this person is saying something else. And the same goes for the phrase as well. Somebody might come and praise you for something. As soon as you hear those words, you feel like it's honey. You are so attracted to those words. You become blind with those words. You start appreciating that person. That's what happens. Somebody coming and blaming you, it's much better than somebody coming and praising you. Because when somebody is praising you, you suddenly become blind. And maybe they have a hidden agenda behind that phrase. They are praising you to get something else, to get their way. So you have to recover from those emotions to see the real nature. So this training, it's a lifelong training. You have to practice this. Time after time, you keep on practicing and see how you can keep this open-minded attitude. How you can, with time, observe things without coming into conclusions. How you can deal with people, deal with situations without that usual hurry. You give them time to show themselves and see what is the real nature. You refrain from reacting to see what is the real nature. This way you keep on practicing. Why? Because in your mind, deep in your mind, you know, although the things are born, again they dissolve into the unborn. Although the things are dissolved into the unborn, again they become born. So this nature, this deep experience, you know from your mind. When you have that experience, when that experience become more and more natural to you, you realize your worldview is changing. You realize you are experiencing the world in a different manner. In a different eye, you are experiencing the world. Earlier, you experienced the world in a way, probably egocentric way you experience the world. Now, although the ego might be still there, you are experiencing the world in a different eye. In a different way, you are experiencing this world. That change will happen only when you experience the true nature within you. Through meditation, you start to feel this born nature, and you start to feel this unborn nature. Again and again, 1001 times, you do this observation. You go into this experience. That experience will change things. That experience will change how you view this world. That experience will change how you experience this world. So that's the idea of the unborn. That's the deep nature within us. Usually we don't know. We are blind towards this nature. When the things are born, we identify ourselves with them. When the things are born, we say, this is me, this is mine. But when you keep on observing, you realize there's a ever-changing flux of things behind these things. There's this unborn nature behind these things. And that unborn nature is one with the universe. That unborn nature is one with the cosmos. That unborn nature is one with even the animals, trees around you. So that practice is important. Experiencing this nature is important. When you experience it deep in your mind, even without your intention, your mind is changing. Your worldview is changing. Your way of experiencing things are changing. So the invitation is to practice and see for yourself, practice and experience for yourself. Thank you for listening.
Very much, Merit Bhante, for that good talk on based on the unborn and way to see that. Next, we have the question and answers. I'd like to invite Hiranga to the session.
Thank you, Namanda. Hope you can hear me.
Yes.
Yeah, great. Thank you. Avasarai Venerable Bhante. Thank you very much for very insightful talk about the topic unborn. Before read the reports, I would like to share the key instructions with the beginners join the session today and the newly started practicing mindfulness. We have useful guidance on how to develop the pure mindfulness on the slide here, which also going to share by Namanta in the Zoom chat section. You can see 5 steps listed on screen, which has been shared currently. The first step is to go through the 2 video links in the slide under basic instructions. You can watch 2 of the key aspects of developing your mindfulness. These 2 aspects are mindful walking and mindful sitting. The monastery has provided basic instruction videos on these 2 forms on the slide here, one on mindful walking and one on mindful sitting guidance. Mindful daily activities also play an important role in developing your mindful practice during the day to enjoy the present moment freely. It would be critically depend on how you are able to allocate some time into your daily schedule to practice mindfulness. We suggest that you make mindful practice one of your top priority of your daily schedule. When you grab the momentum of mindful practice, we would recommend start with a good 10 to 20 minutes as your choice and gradually increase 1 hour each reach every day, both mindful walking and mindful sitting. Once you've done the practice, after write it down, the notes into a report, focus on writing about what you have felt during the practice. Write down the report. It is your part of your mindful practice. Please send your reflection report through a Google form that you can fill, or our email address is beginnersnv@gmail.com, as you can see in the slide. Then we will read out the reports to Venerable Bhante Dhamma Kusala Thero, address those reports and provide you guidance on how to develop your mindful practice further. So all are warmly welcome to keep joining every Saturday morning session and practice mindfulness daily. It's very essential to practice mindfulness daily. It's benefit all area of your life in positive way. In conclusion, I hope this helps your mindfulness development. With that, Venerable Bhante Avasarai, there is 2 reports received today. I will read the first report from now on. Let me open the first report. First report, mindful sitting. Sat on the cushion in a comfortable position. After body scan, just waited. Few sounds heard in the background which passed away soon. When breath appeared, it was felt around the nostrils. Mind stayed with the rhythm of the breath for a while. Attention went to sounds again. Notice the silence at the end of the sound. When thoughts arose, there seems a gap between one thought and another. Attention returned to the breath again. After a while, the breath felt subtle. Calm and peaceful energy noted. Sat for 45 minutes. Mindfulness during the day. In another Dhamma class I attend, we are going through Kusala, Akusala, and those siddhas that are neither Kusala or Akusala. Then a situation arose with someone I know, which was interesting. They were complaining, but after a while it felt like what they were saying was heard as background noise. At the same time, become aware of what was felt in the body and mind. Felt the tightening of stomach, muscles, and restrictive feeling in the chest. It was easy to note the mind was agitated. After noticing the akusala siddhas were arising in mind, choose to use a healthy distraction to slow this down. So ask the mind to identify which akusala siddhas were coming up, and then to work out the associated mental factors of each of these unwholesome siddhas. It really did the trick, as this happened while another person was continuing their rant. I was in front of them, but they have no idea I was becoming mindful of what was happening in the body and mind. Don't remember why the other person was upset anymore, but did remember the corresponding mental factors of the unwholesome siddhas that arose while listening to this person. Mind felt lighter and calmer. Breathing has become more regulated also. When the other person felt I noted this quizzical look on their face. Maybe they thought I was rude for not joining their complaints. Dear Bhante, look forward to your valuable feedback. Much merits to you and all the organizers. End of report.
Okay, so various things appear, but we become aware. That's the basic idea. You become mindful. It could be wholesome, it could be unwholesome. Still, if you are mindful, that goes into a different category. That goes into the neither wholesome nor unwholesome category. The emotions are there, the emotions are unwholesome, but still you are mindful of them. That distance will do the trick. That distance will make a huge difference. You are no longer with that wholesome or unwholesome emotion. Instead, you are separated from it. That's the magic of the mindfulness. That's the trick of the mindfulness. Earlier, you were among them. You identified yourself as the wholesome person. You identified yourself as the unwholesome person. Now, you are just identifying them as different mental states. That's all that you need. When you identify that way, when you observe that way, you realize there's a distance between those two. You don't.
Hiranga, are you able to hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Namanta.
Yes, Bhante. Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so that's the trick. That's the idea. The things are there. The things are there, but you are not one with them. You don't identify yourself with that emotion, with that thought, right? So when that happens, when that distance is there, you are no longer one with that emotion. You are no longer one with that thought. So that's the state that we talk called neither wholesome nor unwholesome, right? So that observation is enough. You don't have to go beyond that. You don't have to go into deeper. There's no need. Instead, that simple observation is what we are doing. That simple observation will do the trick. So that's the idea of this practice. Continue with that observation and you realize, although the wholesome states are there, you are not one with them. Although the unwholesome states are there, you are not one with them. That distance will save you. That distance will do the trick. So that's the idea I want to give. Continue with this observation and everything becomes like white noise. Although the people are talking, it doesn't concern you. All the things are happening, it doesn't concern you. It becomes like white noise. If you need, you can give attention. If you need, you can give energy. If you need, you can prioritize. But majority of the things, you don't need to prioritize them. You don't need to spend energy on them. So that's the idea. Continue that way and you will see for yourself.
Thank you, Venerable Bhante. I will go for the last report. That is the second report as well. Report 2. Mindful living. Mind stays absent of thoughts for a long period in daily life. When not taking in too many duties, this is more apparent. When busy, bodily sensations are not always noted, but very little friction with people at work. Not taking anything seriously, so everything is let go of as they happen. So there is so much energy to do things and the body becomes lighter and lighter. Both outside and inside feels all the same and no tension. Noted how ego is created in the mind today. How it feels superior and inferior around certain people at work and was able to let go these sensations in the mind by observing them. On another occasion, noted how it makes comparisons with other people, etc. Example, waiting to tell a family member that they sleep too much. Most of the time, these thoughts do not turn into words, but sometimes when mindfulness is not strong, they do. Yesterday, out of comparison, in the heart was upset when seeing a family member skinning a chicken. Told them that it's easier to generate mindful energy if they were vegan, but afterwards felt ashamed for making comparisons and judgments. Sometimes succeed in choiceless awareness, but other times totally fail. Know that I am still perfectly imperfect, but able to forgive each time and move on. Much merits to Bhante, and just letting you know that the practices is going on. That's the end of the report.
Okay, so good to hear that update. Good to hear that keep on practicing, right? So it's natural that these things happen. Sometimes you do things and after a while you feel ashamed. You feel that you are judgmental towards somebody else, right? So in a way, when we practice, we come into a middle path. More you practice, that becomes more and more natural to you. So that's the idea. That's the need. We don't go into these extremes. Instead, we realize, although it is possible for me It's not possible for somebody else. Although I experience the world in this manner, they might be experiencing the world in a different way. Although I feel aversion towards this, they may feel attracted towards that. So that world view will appear. You realize it's not only your way. You realize, no, everybody is not experiencing the world in a similar manner. So that realization, that will bring you to the middle path. Time to time you feel the aversion, time to time you feel this need to tell them, but you realize that they too experience the world in different manner. In a way, you are perfectly imperfect. Everybody is. So that's the idea. That's the idea. We are not after becoming perfect. Most practitioners, they try to do it. That extreme is natural to the meditators. They want to make everything perfect. They can't sleep if things are not perfect. But more you practice, you realize that's not possible. Instead, everybody is uniquely imperfect. That uniqueness you are going to accept more and more. Not because you don't have any thoughts, not because you don't have any emotions. You have them. You feel them. But you don't become emotional due to those thoughts, emotions. You are able to better navigate these emotions, thoughts. That's the skill that will develop. The sadness might come, but still, there's no need to cry. The aversion is there, but still there is no need to judge somebody or to word a judgment. There's no need. The anger is there, still there is no need to blame somebody. The jealousy is there, but still you don't act upon it. So that change will happen. That change will happen with time. You realize the thoughts are there, emotions are there. In a way, you still feel them. We don't become, zombies due to this practice. The thoughts are there, the emotions are there, but you are able to better navigate them. You know how to deal with them. You know how to deal with your thoughts, emotions. You know how to skillfully manage them in a situation. That ability will come to you with time. So that's the idea of the practice. That's why we keep on practicing. That's why every week we are meeting. Every week we discuss. That continuation is important. Most people, they come and go. They come and go. But the practitioner, if they are serious about the practice, they have to continue. The motivation might reduce time to time. So they have to come and see the other people are practicing. It is encouraging for me. And we are talking, discussing the practice. It is encouraging for me. Somehow you keep on practicing. Somehow you continue with the group. So that's the idea of these sessions. Otherwise, we can just give the message and forget about it. But it's not how it works. You have to give repetitive practice towards it. And you have to again and again discuss. Try to see what is the proper way. So with time, we understand this is how I can practice. The path is unique to you. Others, they can just give pointers. They can just give clues. But you have to find your own path. Because those emotions, thoughts, the way you perceive the world, it is quite unique. Nobody else sees the world in a similar manner. Nobody else perceives the world in a similar manner. So you are the only person that's perceived the world in that way. So you have to find the proper way of navigating that experience. You have to find the proper way of navigating those thoughts, emotions. With time, that ability will develop. With time, that strength will develop. The only thing is time. You have to somehow continue with the practice. You have to somehow continue with the group. You have to somehow continue with the discussions. Be there, be a member of the group, participate once in a while, and practice every now and then. This way, if you continue for few years, few months, then you realize there's a real change in your life. So that's the idea I want to give. And thank you for giving the update.
Thank you, Venerable Bhante. With that, we conclude today's reports. Now we open to this session, to the Q&A session. So if you have any question or share your experiences, please raise your Zoom hand and we will give you the opportunity to ask Venerable Bhante your question or share your experience. I can see Samantha raise hand, so you can unmute yourself and take your opportunity to talk to Bhante.
Thanks, Sarendra. And thank you, Bhante, for taking my question. Now, that was just a very interesting session, and the talk as well. That really, I really appreciated Bhante's advice, because that really, I think, helps me in my current situation, because I'm constantly doing things. I'm very busy with all sorts of things as a lay life. It's very difficult. So all sorts of obstacles come in my way, and I'm trying my best now not to react like I used to, because when I was mindful and not being mindful, I was always sort of like my emotions were getting the better out of me. So now, with Bhante's advice and listening to programs like this, I'm trying to be more mindful. And as Bhante said now, I'm going into the unborn and the born. So does that mean that whatever arises will naturally go into the unborn as well? It'll just pass away. So basically what I'm saying is the impermanent nature of my emotions and everything. So I had to distance myself, learn to distance myself. So I was thinking about that, and in doing so, I was thinking I need to develop patience as well, because some of these emotions in the moment, they are quite overwhelming and take the better, of you, and really want to expend that energy and react, shout, or hopefully not hit, but do something to release that energy. So you had to control it, contain it. So I was wondering, in reality, sometimes to have that patience, is it best to divert the attention to my breath if I'm mindful enough to, first of all, I had to accept my emotion that I'm angry, my state of my mind, I'm angry or frustrated. Then I quickly, like in someone saying in the report, just hopefully by that time, the gap, as Bhante kept saying, now I'm beginning to actually understand maybe what that gap is, to buy the time, the patience. And also, should I focus my attention to the breath? In doing so, that'll help me calm my state of mind as well. Because there's two things going on. You can't have anger and calmness at the same time. And yeah, I hope that makes sense, Bhante.
Okay, now when you say that you are very busy in your life, in a way it's good. You know why? Because when you are very busy, you can't really give your attention to things for a long time. So my experience is that helps for a practitioner. How it is helping? Now all the negativity is there. Let's say we don't have anything to do. Then always all the incidents, all the negativity naturally come to you. They dwell in your mind. They become the permanent residence in your mind. And always you are thinking about these situations. Always you are thinking about these people. Always you are thinking how they are hurting you. But when you are busy, if you know the correct art, in a way it is helpful. You don't give much attention to the negativity that's there. Instead, you see the positive side, like Pollyanna's glad game. She is saying things happen. The negative things are there, but you can find something to be glad. Something to be glad. Let's say somebody is rejecting you, but still you can find something to be glad. Okay, now I can do something else during this time. Now I can...
Swamin Wahanse, outside Swamin Wahanse, we can't hear you. Namanta, I think Swamin Wahanse disconnected or lost the connection.
Let's give him a moment. It could be weak internet signal over there.
Okay.
Looks like Bante left, isn't it?
We will try to
Bante
will try to rejoin.
Yeah.
Appreciate your patience. We will give a few moments for Bante to rejoin the session.
Namanta, can you hear?
Yes, Bante, I can hear you. Yes.
Namanta?
Yes, we can hear you, Bante.
Okay, sorry, I got disconnected.
That's okay, Bante.
I was saying, now when you are busy with so many things, if you know how to skillfully manage those situations, then there are many things that you can pay attention to. Your attention is so precious. Your attention is so worth. You don't give much attention to the negative things. Instead, you train yourself to focus on the positivity, on the positive things. In a way, you play this glad game. You say, although these things happen, I can put that energy into something else. In order to do that, as you correctly mentioned, you have to create some distance from these situations, create some distance from these people. That distance is important, right? So the problem is that all those qualities that you are mentioning, the distance, the patience, these things you can't develop the patience. You can't develop the distance. The only thing you can do is keep on practicing the mindfulness. As a result, only the distance will come. As a result, only the patience will come. That's how it is, right? So what we can do is we can keep on practicing. You are busy, but still you can reserve some time for the formal meditation. I'm not asking like 8 hours a day. Try at least like 30 minutes of sitting, 30 minutes of working. Early in the morning, you sit for 30 minutes. Before bed, you walk for 30 minutes. Fix it as a part of your daily schedule. That's 1 hour out of 24, right? So when you do that, you realize this ability is developing within you. The patience is there, it will develop. The distance will develop. Only as a result of the practice, only as a result of mindfulness, these things will develop. That's the idea, that's the thing, right? So you have to keep on practicing. Formal meditation is very important. And when you do that, you realize that although you are busy, you can navigate it much better. Your energy is limited. Your energy is precious. But how to use that energy? How to become more efficient with that energy? That's what matters. That's the development in the new world. They have become more energy efficient. Compared to historical times, they are more efficient. Even let's say the bulbs, they are more efficient. I remember when I was studying, we had to use like 100 watts to read a book. Nowadays, we are using probably 10, 15 watts would be enough, right? So that's energy efficient, right? Similarly, in your mind also, although you are busy, it's good to be busy as long as you know how to navigate these situations, as long as you know how to use this energy in a precious way, right? So that skill will develop. And you realize you are, in a way, you are angry, in a way you are calm in the same moment. In your statement, you say that you could be angry and calm at the same time. But I am saying the opposite. You could be agitated and calm at the same time.
Yeah.
You could be angry and compassionate at the same time. That will come with the practice. That's the distance that we are talking about. Now you are saying only agitation is there. But I am saying behind agitation, the calmness is also there. Now you are saying only the anger is there. But I am saying behind the anger, compassion is also there. That's why we say even the compassion, you have to be careful with it. It won't take so long to change it into the anger. Right? So that's why the same people that love you, they will come and hate you the most. That's natural to this world. Right? That's natural. Because why?
Yeah.
The love will change into hatred. It won't take long. That's the thing. That's the thing. It's like, petting a snake, petting a cobra, right? As long as cobra is fine, you are okay. Suddenly it gets furious and you dead. You are dead. You die. The venom is injected. So that's the issue with these emotions. That's why in this new age, most people, they talk about the kindness, the compassion. We need to be more compassionate towards the world. We need to spread kindness towards the world. But still, it's the same poison. It won't take long to become poisonous. That same love will become hatred. That same compassion will become anger. So the practitioner, they know, in a way, your mind is agitated. At the same moment, there's calmness in somewhere else. In a way, your mind is angry. At the same moment, there's compassion in that mind. That observation is valid only for the person who has created some distance from those emotions. Otherwise, quickly we get absorbed into that emotion and we are angry. We are agitated. That's why you are saying you can't be calm and agitated at the same time. I'm saying it's possible. When you create that distance, you realize the calmness is there and the agitation is also there. The compassion is there, the anger is there. Now you have a choice, which one to pick. Either you can pick the agitation, or you can vote to the calmness, or you can refrain from picking. Those options become available to you. Otherwise, always the default option is there, becoming agitated. For the practitioner, 2 more options become available to them. What are the 2 more options? There's calmness as well. And you can stay without choosing, without picking. You don't pick the agitation or the calmness. 2 more options become, 2 more choices become valid to the practitioner when you have created some distance from those emotional states. So that's the idea I want to give. At the same time, in your mind, there could be agitation as well as the calmness. Try to find it.
Yeah, thank you, Bhante. I think Bhante did hit the note there, because now on reflection, that does happen because I'm really, really busy, and sometimes, and it all depends on the person who I'm angry with. If it's a family member who I love very much, and I try to sort of like see why I'm angry, the intention behind my anger. It's not malicious. It's because for their own good, from hurting themselves, I got angry, and then afterwards it just doesn't stay long, and then I had the compassion to them, because I was angry because for their own good, not to fall and hit their head on the pavement or something. And then, and then I move on to the next job. So if I sort of like see the intention behind it, and also the practice, as Bante said, that hit the note, I really need to meditate, because I find that going on retreats when I'm able to, there's a benefit of after meditation for long hours, come back, I'm able to control my emotions. But then when I don't practice, I go back into the habitual, world, lay life. Thank you, Bante, for reminding me that. Thank you. Sadhu.
Thank you, Samantha. Thank you, Venerable Bante. Thank you for sharing your experience and question with us. It's encourage beginners as well. Anyone who wants to ask a question, there is a few minutes left. Just 1 or 2 minutes left. So if anyone wants to ask a question, there is a little time left. So there is no hand raised. So I will end this Q&A session and hand over to Namanta. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and much merit, Hiranga, for conducting the Q&A, and also thanks to all those who sent reports, and also to Samantha, and also much merit and thank you to Bante for such valued and insightful guidance on multidimensional aspects of practice and training of mindfulness. It is indeed a matter of putting into formal practice, which will provide you with faster results. So I would encourage all of you even to do 2 minutes of mindfulness practice in formal manners, as explained in mindful walking and mindful sitting videos and introduction by Hiranga at the start of Q&A. So with that, we have come to the towards the conclusion of this program. I would like to share merits with Venerable Bante Homagama Dhamma Kusala Thero for committing Bante's own time and effort and energy into this session today. And we wish that these merits will go on and have a positive knock-on effect on Bante's own practice, and that it will keep improving. And we would also like to acknowledge the help and kindness of Most Venerable Bante Udayirigam Dhammajiva Mahathero for insightfully requesting this program to be actualized in this manner, so that it benefits in this kind of ways to all of us in this session. Then I would also like to wish that these merits will pass on to Chief Bante and his own practice will prosper. Also, I would like to mention that there is a large team of organizers who are always putting a lot of effort into all the background tasks in this program. So I'd like to mention their contribution and also share merits with them, who may or may not be present in the program today, and hope that these merits will have a positive incremental benefit on their own practices too. Furthermore, I would also like to pass merits to all of you who are joining the session through the Zoom session as well as the live stream, and wish that these merits will have a positive impact on your own practices. So with that, there is another 7 days for you to put this into practice, in formal practice, and also in day-to-day mindfulness practice. So I wish you will have the courage and strength to develop mindfulness through these lessons learned today and in past programs as well. And hope, I think you will have the recordings link in the Zoom chat section. You can access past recordings as well. And I hope that we'll meet next Saturday, same time, for another insightful session on mindfulness with Bante's guidance and advice. So till then, wish you a happy and mindful week, and we will see you next week, same time. Thank you. I will end the Zoom session now.